Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to Tamu's Five Head. It's because you're looking down.
I know. There was like a meme or something. I think it was like an Instagram picture where it was like girls with big foreheads understand, and it was like picture one is like her whole like pose, like looking all cute, and then picture two, it's like she's cropped it down to here, like down to like regular forehead. Right. I was like, big forehead girls do understand. I really don't do myself any favors like wearing headbands all the time too. Like I feel like that just
it's
like,
not that bad. It was just because you're looking down and the light's shining like right on it.
Yeah.
Looks more pronounced this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, take two. Hello, everybody.
You want to keep that in?
Take three. Hello, everybody. Welcome to On the Lamb podcast. This is a knitting place, or no, a crafty place, because we talk about so much more. Sure. Well, we even talk about jellyfish and water bottles and stuff like that. So mostly a yarny place, sometimes other things too.
We just like to make stuff.
We just like to make things, yes, because we made dingle dops on the weekend. I can't wait to show.
We just like to make stuff, and right now, what I mostly like to make is things with yarn.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes I make other stuff too. Yeah.
Okay, so my name's NalediS.
My name's Tamu.
We are
coloring
sisters. What?
I said, and I'm coloring.
And she's coloring. See, you're not just making, well, you're coloring for something yarny, I assume.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it for your sweater?
No.
Okay. So she's not being rude. She's just had this idea. Has to get on paper.
Last night, as I was falling asleep, I was thinking about something that I had started trying to design a while ago, but now I'm currently obsessed with color work, because if anyone saw our Instagram over the weekend,
cowl
class. So I was thinking about something I had started designing a while ago and how I've been thinking about like, oh, it just wasn't quite working out the way I wanted to. The shape just wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. And so I was like, now I'm really like, I just want to make color work everything. So yeah, so I was like falling asleep last night, and all of a sudden this like idea popped in my head that was like, I gotta get that on paper in the morning. And I remember now. If I don't get it, at least like some sort of visual representation of what I had in my brain, there will come a day where I'll be like, I know I wanted to do something with this, but I have no idea what it was.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
Not sure it's as exciting on paper as it was in my head. I think I need to like, it needs to be in yarn, you know what I mean? Like some things like, it's just not as cute on graph paper as it will be in real stitches.
Yeah, for sure. When it's all plump and squishy.
True say.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're wearing. I'll start first because you're coloring. This Tamu last week, if you watched the episode, this is episode 14, by the way. Last week was lucky number 13.
Oh, yeah.
Last week, Tamu wore her Adventures on the Wrong Side shawl that I made. This one is also an Adventures on the Wrong Side. It's obviously a smaller version. This was all one yarn, correct? No.
Those are also, so those are Madeline Tosh Tiny Twists, which is her DK mini skeins. And it was one of her curated sets, or their curated sets, called Road Trip, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you buy the set, you can see a picture of like, these are what the colors are going to look like before you get it home.
Obviously, tails need to be woven in still. That's fine. This is actually the first thing I ever did when I joined the On the Lamb team. Tamu had like started this already. I remember it. It was summertime. We were having a visit in her backyard with my mom, and with our mom, not just my mom. Your mom wasn't there yet. Just kidding. Anyway, sometimes you say my dad or something.
I know, I can't help it. It's because it's like, you know, when you talk to other people who don't have the same dad as you, you say my dad. But when I talk to you, I should just say.
Well, but it's hard because we're on the podcast too. Just our dad,
Hard.
our mom, our Nana. And that's basically what the team was. Anyway. This is the first thing that I tested, or I started sampling for Tamu. She'd started it a little bit, and yeah, I remember it was a journey of the soul because I had really only done like knit and purl before, so I was doing, you know, what's in here, seed stitch and
yeah, there's a lot of like decreasey type stitches, 2 togethers, and
yeah,
that I can't think of what it's called right now, but the stitch in the top section's like really interesting kind of stitch. The way you you purl 2 together. No, you knit 2 together and then you knit the first one again, or you purl 2 together and you purl the first one again. So it's like a decrease, but then you're not really decreasing.
Yeah.
Very like interesting stitches, but not anything that I knew you couldn't handle. Like, yeah, you know, it's just
it was like
wrapping your head around it.
I'd be like, I made a mistake again. And I was like, I'm something of a perfectionist. So I couldn't just leave it. I'd like, you know, frog back so much to fix one little mistake that hadn't even affected my numbers, but if I saw it, I couldn't leave it. And so that was when I like learned about the lifelines. I think I had like 70 lifelines. I was like, I guess lifelines everywhere. Go back, no problem. It's funny anyway. So, but it was good to like, actually, you know, I guess in the past I would make mistakes, but then I would just drop the whole project. I wouldn't keep working on it. So this was like, you know, no one wants to hear about this. Go on. Now talk. So this is the small workend adventures on the wrong side. Go ahead. What are you wearing?
I am wearing, so this is my first successful color work project. So on the weekend, we had done a color work class with Kate Atherley at Shall We Knit in Waterloo, Ontario. And well, my coffee cozy's over there. So we started with coffee cozies. So she had shown us nice. Oh yeah, because your mug has no handle.
Yeah, it broke off.
So basically my coffee cozy looks like this, like the Argyle pattern, but
same colors.
So we did a coffee cozy with an Argyle pattern. That was like the project for the class, so we could, you know, get all the techniques and basically get it pretty well finished in the class time. Yeah, and so then I went home, and on the flip side, she'd given us a pattern for a hat. And I knew that the chances that a hat was going to actually fit my head and be something I want to wear, because I don't know what it is about like knit hats. I often get quite itchy on my forehead within like 5 or 10 minutes of wearing them. Like any of the knit hats that I have, it has to be cold enough for me to suck that up. So I was like, I'm not going to wear a hat, and I really didn't want to like waste all my color work efforts on something I'm not going to wear. So I decided to cast on the largest size of the hat and make this cowl. And then I hacked the end of the stitch pattern a little bit, if you can see that there. So I just like continued the line from the Argyle down and kind of made like a little lattice that then like drips down to.
Good for you. That's awesome. That looks really nice.
I was like quite proud of myself.
Yeah, good for you.
I kept like showing it to Steve and being like, I made this and it looks like something. Because in the past I said to, you know, in the class she asked, has anyone, I like your headband, you look like crazy knitter lady, because you got like your scarf and then you're like half crazy hat. I'm like, yeah, like, it was like a big chunky sweater and then some like fingerless gloves to be like, I wear all the knits.
I should. Yeah. I'm really comfortable right now.
Really cute. Yeah, in the class, Kate asked, you know, does anyone have any experience with color work before? And I totally had tried color work before. And generally, I would say, relatively successful at teaching myself how to do things. Because I grew up pre-YouTube. So you had to figure stuff out either from written instructions or pictures, like still pictures. I never like took out, I think you could get like say knitting DVDs and VHSs and stuff at libraries, but I just never did that. So yeah, I'm very much like a look at something and then see if I can figure it out myself, which is how I retaught myself how to knit.
Wonderful.
Doing it for a long time and stuff. And it's just how my brain works. I can translate words into images, you know, if I really think about it.
Well, I can in a very graphic novel, like a, graphic novel? No.
Yeah, like if a novel you're reading has a lot of like great descriptive words, you can transport yourself there. But it's like it's a different,
not with like SC1, comma SK1 and whatever. I'm like, oh, this is too abstract.
Yeah, it's like you know, you're reading a different language almost, translating it into what do those stitches mean in my head, and then also having to get it back out through your hands onto whatever you're working on. Like that's a whole another level of skill, for sure. It's not something that I think everybody can do, which is great that YouTube exists if you need that visual reminder, and great that there's in-person classes. I love teaching in-person classes. I love taking in-person classes because I like that feedback of showing someone my work and having them be like, yes, that is what I meant. And so it's not like some stitch patterns that I, played around with or thought I had figured out and then way later learned that I was totally doing it wrong. And whatever, I got a look that I wanted, so it doesn't matter. Or maybe what I was doing was a different stitch, but Anyways, so yeah, I was just like, Naledi was like saying it was kind of funny on the weekend to see me like have that moment of like, oh my God, it actually worked. Because in the past when I tried the color work, what I learned over this weekend was that I was sort of combining Fair Isle techniques with Intarsia techniques. So if you're not a color work person, that doesn't mean anything to you. But basically, I was twisting my yarn together too much at the back of my work. I was trying to twist it every single stitch because I was worried that something was going to fall out or be too loose. And all it was doing is making a huge mess of the work, pulling all the stitches to one side, making these big holes. And like, it was hideous for the amount of effort it was. It was a pain in the $$ to frog out because all the yarn is like all curled together. Like
it's A****.
Asterisk works.
Right? Because remember, what was that show, Johnny Vision?
I don't know.
He was Canadian, he had blonde hair, and he had this like...
Jono
Vision, that's it, yeah. And that's what he did for something. He was like, A****, which is like, it's hilarious because the asterisk.
Yeah. I always think $ because it looks like an S.
It looks like an S, but it's...
when you're typing it.
When you say it, A***. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, you know what I mean. It was not fun to frog out this ridiculously twisted color work that I attempted. So I just sort of conceded, like I had at one point with crochet, that like, maybe I just can't do color work. Maybe that's just not ever going to be one of my skills. But I'm a much more confident knitter now than I was before. And again, having an in-person class to go to, huge difference for me. So I was like, yes, this is something I feel like I'm now ready to try again. Something I'm going to definitely want to do. My knitting speed is way up. I'm more like, I want to do more garments, but I would like to be able to have color work as an option for some garments here and there. Not all of them. I can't, foresee having a lot of yoked sweaters, but it would just be nice to like know that that's in my back pocket if I wanted to include it, kind of thing. So I made this.
Yeah, I was so impressed with that class. Kate is like an amazing teacher.
I love her.
In less than, obviously she's done it a lot of times before. It's just like how she had, you get started and then you pause and like chat and then start just go for it, like, oh my gosh, I knew in way less than 2 hours, we were all doing color work.
Yeah. And there was nobody that was like horribly unsuccessful. Like, I mean, she was saying, like, it's not so much anytime she was looking at your work, she's not looking to make sure you followed the chart perfectly. It's like, are there any little fixes that she can give you to make your general color work experience more successful? Learning to follow the chart or being able to read the chart will come with practice and slowing down and really being able to focus on just that. And like, I think in my coffee cozy, I have one messed up row and I know exactly what I did. Like, it was just how my brain wanted to interpret the pattern. I wanted to stack the colors differently, but other than that, like my whole coffee cozy, just like my cowl, I think looks really good. I was worried. So this is Cascade 220, which is what was recommended for the class. And I don't think I'd heard of it before, but I don't think I'd ever worked with it before. And now I'm like in love. And they have so many colors of it. And I thought it was going to be itchy. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't hard in my hands, but just like picking up the skein, and like I always do the cheek test because I do have quite sensitive skin. It doesn't take a lot for me to like, you know, rub something on my cheek and then feel that like my skin just like bristle up. And so initially I thought it was going to be bad. And when I was soaking it yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or was the day before, whatever. When I was soaking it, I squished it a few extra times with my fingers, hoping to like, not really felt it, but just like move it in that direction to hopefully soften up the surface slightly. Like I just wanted to give it like the very slightest amount of agitation. And I feel like maybe that helped. I don't know. It could be totally in my head, but it actually feels like quite smooth. And so one thing that I did is when I did the bottom rib, I just put a split in it. I worked the rib flat, and I actually like added an extra stitch just so it wouldn't pull the actual body of the cowl, just because I wanted it to not like stand up on itself and then end up like falling over, and then you'd be able to see the inside. So I was hoping that if I could have it, you know, kind of lay over my chest a little bit more, that it would hide the inside. Anyways, I'm quite proud of myself, and now I want to cast on all the color work. So stay tuned for whips.
Yeah, and I am making the hat version for my husband, which
yeah, show it again.
I'm very excited about. Yeah, hold on, I got 3, 2, 1. I do that with my kids. I'm like, there's 5 more, there's 4 more.
I just wanted to check something actually.
So this is the second largest, the 22-inch hat that I'm doing for my hubby. Again, same yarn from the class. It's the Cascade 220. And they're, I can't remember the color names. I'll say it later another time. I'm gonna frog it right back to
Sparrow
the because I want
Heather.
Pigeon Heather or something like that. That's why I don't remember exactly, so we'll do it later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it all the way back to the brim again and make the brim a little longer for him. I just don't want it to look like, I think the longer brim will look a bit more masculine, and it'll kind of like make it a little more stiff and less like beanie around his head. So and then we'll see whether or not we do like 2 pattern repeats or chart repeats or not. Anyway, so that's the start of it. I'm gonna take it back again though, and then start again. So stay tuned for the finished one. That'll be another week. Yeah, that's it. And I feel like we should stay very focused.
Yes.
And just the information that's needed today, because Tema's got a lunch date.
It's like really
this will be our shortest podcast ever, because it has to be. We got lots to say today, so what's next?
Okay. I was trying to get a picture of my whip, because my whip is
a picture of your whip.
A picture of what I'm working on, like what the finished thing will look like.
What are you talking about? The test knit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Is that what you want to do? Whips?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
while I'm doing that, do you want to, while you're looking, do you want me to show a whip or?
I got it.
Okay.
You can go though.
Go ahead. Ready. Go for it.
Okay. So in the vein of now I want to knit all the color work, of course, then a test knitting opportunity came up, and I don't know what it is. I'm a sucker for test knits. I just love them so much. And I think we were talking about it, and I might have been more hesitant to start a test knit that had color work in it, or start any kind of knit that had color work in it, especially a cardigan, because I'd be worried that, you know, I'd have trouble with it. And then, you know, there wouldn't be, I mean, I know lots of designers are really good at support, but I find if somebody asks me a question about a design that I made a year ago and I don't have one on the needles or on the hook or whatever, it's a little tricky to get my head back to where I was, you know, like when I knit it. So I like test knits because, you know, other people are knitting it at the same time as you know, the designer is like right there keeping an eye on the thread or whatever. So there's just lots of support. So Soline Knits, she's a French designer, Paris, like France French, not Canadian French, not Quebec French, has this sweater. I feel like it's okay for me to show the picture because it's up in her testing group on Ravelry, which anybody could join. So that's what it's going to look like. So you can see it's just a wee band of color work at the bottom. My only like nervousness about it really, because thankfully like the sweater I don't believe has like really any shaping to it. It's just kind of like a box with a drop shoulder or a set-in sleeve, something that I think I haven't done before. My only like nervousness about the color work part is that it's knit flat, where we learned stranded color work in the round and chatted about the flat part at the class. And Kate had said that stranded color work flat is just a bit of a pain because, you know, you're going to be turning it over and knitting on the wrong side and then having to try and figure out where your work is underneath all these floats, or like kind of looking around the floats. So I'm hoping that it'll be okay because it looks like it's only like 2 stitches of each color. So there's not like long floats to try and compete with, but I'm trying to be optimistic and not freak out that maybe I got myself in over my head. Anyways, colors wise, I'm using this color, which is Hedgehog fibers. Their DK weight, excuse me, nose ring is shifting and tickling me. Yeah, Hedgehog fibers, their DK, I think it's just merino DK in their electric colorway, which is like pretty well what you see, bright blue, sort of reminding me of, what's her name? Mystique from
oh yes, yeah.
I don't know why.
That's awesome.
It's like Mystique blue. And my second colorway one is Crooked Kitchen yarn. It's called Dark Star, but it's a one of a kind. So she, I think, was playing around with the colors.
A lot of her like that I've seen from you anyway. It's all very similar, huh?
It's just me.
It's just what you pick. Okay.
Just the colors that I pick. Not really, actually. I do have a broad range of her colors around and that I have used. Trying to think. Well, yeah, I guess Fireline was also gray. I've used her silver birch and stick and the Gesundheit. Yeah, it's funny, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
The Gesundheit, the Fireline, and this are all like grays. But I have used lots of other colors of hers. I have other colors of hers in my stash. And she has a beautiful range of colors. Like from fun and bright to more like earthy and natural to like soft and pretty. Like she does have a really fabulous eye for color. Anyways, so I think this might have been the first yarn that I actually purchased from her. And I think I just saw it on Instagram somehow. So she had like just 4 skeins of it because I think she was playing around with the color, trying to figure out whatever she wanted to do. And so I bought all 4 skeins because I was like, yes, someday I'll use those all together to make something. And they just sat in a project bag for a long time because I just didn't know what I wanted to make. So I was going to use them for my Gullfoss on my Make 9, but I think I'm actually going to swap this project on my Make 9 for the Gullfoss. I still will make the Gullfoss at some point. I really, really want it, but I really want this too. And now I'm using the yarn, so whatever. Yeah, so it's like a gray, like a bit of a tonal gray. It's got some like red and teal and blue and yellow like specks in it. So I think with like this really sort of solid, semi-solid blue, it'll be good. So the color work will pop, but it won't be like too crazy in your face. And definitely something that would be wearable for me. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm just on the rib, obviously, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Bum ding. But that's the sound when you listen back to the podcast. That's what you just did.
Between my needle hitting the table and my water bottle.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so that's a whip for me. What do you got?
I'm going to show you what I'm whipping right now. My abalone, there's not a lot more to say. I am just starting the separation for the front panels and the back and the armholes. So
you put a pretty good dent in it on the weekend.
I mean, I have made a really great dent. I think it's just because like I'm only using one color, and it's a sweater without a ton of shaping. I'm like, there's not a whole lot to say, really. I'm just showing you my progress, I guess. So
You're splitting for the front already?
believe
It's
it or
more
not,
shorter,
it's
right?
actually, when I put it around my body, I mean, it curls up for one thing.
Yeah.
See if I can. It curls up.
Yeah.
It's actually quite long. I'll stand up and show you.
Did you measure it or did you just like hold it up?
I measured it.
Okay.
It's like just over 40 centimeters, which she suggested about 40 centimeters. And I initially wanted to go shorter.
Yeah.
But it just like when you're doing just straight knits and purl rows, it's so easy to just keep going. So
Yeah.
it's actually gonna be a little bit longer. It just doesn't look like it, but it is.
And you could always shorten the edging too, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna see how much yarn I have left. What I mainly want is the like more tapered, slightly longer sleeve. So I'm like,
yeah,
really hoping I get there. It's funny too, because I even stopped. I'm like, I don't know why I got worried about how loose this is and how much stretch. I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't. I didn't do a gauge swatch before I started. I was just like, abalone.
yeah.
So I stopped and did a proper gauge swatch.
Or did you?
Yeah, I did. With a 5 millimeter, which I'm using now, and a 4.5.
Yeah.
But the 5 is just fine.
Yeah. Like, and you wet it and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I guess because it's knit stitch, it's just stockinette. It's not gonna bloom like lace would, right? Like it's not gonna move as much. Anyways, when I blocked it, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I was careful not to like stretch it.
Yeah.
Obviously with a heavier sweater, it's possible that just like taking out the weight of itself will.
Yeah. I think with the pure wash, like if it were me and I was worried that it could block like crazy, I would probably like I probably wouldn't like soak it. I might wash it in the washing machine in a garment bag.
Right.
Like just do like a rinse and spin or something like that, just to wet it and like even out the stitches, and then just lay it flat. And then worst case, like if you are worried that it's like stretching out a bit, when it's damp but not like wet, then I would put it in the dryer.
Yeah.
Like again, in a garment bag, a meshy bag or whatever, but maybe with just like a towel or two or something like that.
But like
that will kind of tighten it back. It should tighten it back up a little bit.
Like we spoke about though at the color work class with Kate, like it doesn't so much matter, not that it doesn't matter the first blocking impacts, yes, but it's like you're gonna wash it. If the next time you're gonna wash it, you could run into the same problem.
But a wool sweater, especially that has no plastic in it, right, and isn't like superwash treated like other sweaters, you should not need to wash it that often. Like unless you have an obvious like on it, just wearing it, you should be able to just like maybe lay it out to air out and then put it away.
Right.
Like you shouldn't be washing it with your regular clothes.
But I'm just thinking, okay, so it's a month and then I wash it.
But then same thing, just put it in with your regular laundry.
In a garment bag.
Okay. That's what I would do, because like your laundry detergent should be gentle enough. Or if you're worried about it, then you just do your knits together. Because there have been times where I've been like, I want to wash this shawl, but I don't want to put them in with my regular laundry. Yeah. So I'll like just do a load, like a small load of all knit stuff. And again, putting them all into meshy bags and whatever, so that I'm ready to deal with them when they come back out. And then like, lay them out and whatever, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
Oh, it's snowing and I'm like looking to see how bad it is.
Oh. What's your next one? This is like straight to business podcast. No funny stories, no laughing. Show me what you're whipping.
Serious. Got a
bandana. Stop laughing.
Sorry. I just wanted to show too that I have my Soline Knits cardigan. I think it's called the Garçon cardigan. in my sewing shenanigans. And I still, every time I hold up this bag, I'm like, all right, I was going to do split screen of the pictures, and I keep forgetting.
Right, that does look like Miles' wall.
This is Miles's wall. And then this is
Miles' wall. Sorry. And that's, yeah. Where did you get those from?
Really get annoyed. It's like, since I gave the dentist's office my cell phone number, now they always confirm appointments on my cell phone. I'm like, don't call my cell phone. Like, unless I'm missing an appointment or I have a dental emergency that I don't know about, don't call my cell phone. Anyways, where did I get these from? So Lisa at Sewing Shenanigans made them for me, but I sourced the fabric. So I found out that the company that made the wall decals that I had got for the boys' room also makes fabric, or like basically, you know, prints their design, gets their design printed onto fabric.
Yeah, okay.
So I searched the internet high and low, because the ones that I wanted were like, I don't know if they were getting rid of them or what, but it was harder to find these specific ones because they have a few other prints and designs and stuff like that. So yeah, got the safari animals and the underwater animals. So I ordered some of both, and then I ordered a coordinating fabric for the inside, which was funny because the only reason I ordered like their fabric for the inside as well is because I just wanted to make sure like the fabrics were the same, because I don't really know much about fabric. I don't sew as much as I really would like to. I don't sew at all. So I didn't want to accidentally order something for the inside that was like a totally different texture. And then
it also works for like the color of the wall in Miles' room. Well,
that was the funny thing, is like when I ordered it, I think they had black with white polka dots, the blue with white polka dots, and then they had this minty color. And I was like, my God, like it's so perfect, because that is pretty well, their room color is like slightly darker, but pretty well the exact.
But it's similar, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, it's just too perfect. These are my nostalgia mommy sweater bags. Anyways, so that's what my one sweater is in. I'll show the other one when I get to that whip, because it's like half whip, half acquisition. So this is my other whip that I've actually really been like active on lately, is a new design. So this is the yarn I kind of teased out on my Instagram that we had ordered. I had special ordered from Monsoon Calamity from Cindy. I think we talked about we kind of talked about last week, but I think we ended up cutting that part out just to save some time. So Cindy is a yarner who is relatively close to me in Ontario, and she makes this like plied cotton. So if you've never worked with it before, it's like 4 strands of cotton that are plied together. I have no idea how she does this. I envision her with like a ginormous machine, like winding all these things and then having to like measure and cut and like do all this fancy fussy work that I would never do.
Yeah, I just said I try to imagine like, yeah, how she switches from the colors and stuff. Like I'm working on 2 of the cakes, but I haven't really got to much color change yet. So
yeah, sometimes you can feel the knot, like as you like as it slips through your finger, you'll be like, oh, there's like a hard spot there, and then when you actually like look closely, you can see like, you know, the little knot between the colors ending. And sometimes I just miss it somehow, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, is the color different? And it's like, you know, I have to like really look at it, because most of the time it's like 1 strand will change out of the 4 plies. If you're using fingering weight, it's like 4 plies. If you're using heavier weights, she does make heavier weights, so it's like more plies, obviously. Anyways, so it sort of started because she had come out with a new colorway that I thought was really beautiful. And then I was like, it was a beautiful colorway, and I liked the purples, but I wanted to see it in something different for a design that I was working on. I was like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect. So NalediS working with the one cake that her and I sort of collaborated on, and then this
you and Cindy collaborated on.
Yes. And then this is the second combo that her and I collaborated on. So this is it's called Snowflake Melon Heather or something like that. Nope. I thought I had the tag. I don't know what I did with it. Yeah, I think it's called Snowflake Heather, Melon Snowflake Heather. So it's like a lot of white and then this like melony peachy color that my light is really blowing it out, but it is so pretty.
Yeah, it's very peachy and delicate.
And then the rest, the gradient cake is called Gray Day. So it's going to go dark to black with a little bit of gray. So not like solid black at the end. And I just love it. I just love it for crochet projects. I have not knit with it for some reason. And I'm sure it's beautiful knit. I've seen other people, another friend of mine, Wendy, who is creating Beauty in the Dawn, has used Cindy's cakes quite a bit. And I believe she has knit with them several times. And they always look beautiful. And I just haven't done it for some reason. But yeah, so this is a new design that I'm working on. Currently, the name is Stitch with Grit. Anyways, yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Like slightly asymmetrical triangular shape. So you can see it's like a little longer on the one side.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Which is why, so NalediS working on another sample of it in this other yarn combo. And oh man.
It smells still.
Sometimes it takes some time, especially with crochet, just the way crochet works. What did she call that one?
Pink flower.
Yeah, pink ink flower.
Well, it just says ink flower here.
Okay.
Yeah. And yesterday when she was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. You're working the cake."
Yeah.
That's what she called it. She's like, "I can't wait to see ink flower."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she said pink ink flower. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Crochet patterns are interesting to me sometimes because I don't know, the math is just different sometimes than knitting, or the mechanics of it is just different than knitting. So sometimes to make stitch patterns work and then also create the shape that you want and have everything like play well together, it just is like a different beast. So seriously, I didn't bring my notebook up. I was going to take a picture or show you like what the notes for this particular pattern are like. Out of control. And the lady knows because I keep like, so oftentimes if I don't have the pattern typed yet, I'll send her photographs of what I wrote. And I'm like, here you go, decipher that. Oh my goodness. First off, I sent you half the instructions for the starting triangle. Then you're like, all right, I'm done. I was like, that doesn't, yours was only
I get to hear. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the next part.
And I'm like, but I got all this. And I'm like, what did you do? Like, what happened? I'm like, why did the instructions not make sense? I'm like, because I literally sent her a picture covering the rest of it with my hand, thinking that was the end. And then just giving you only half the instructions. That's not going to work at all. Oh my gosh. And then, yeah. But I promise, once you get into the rest of it, it all just sort of goes. Because I finally got it down. I had it where I thought you would have to alternate between two rows in order to make the pattern work, but I actually got it worked out down to like one. So once you know what the like stitch pattern is for one row, you just repeat that for the right number of rows, and then you switch to the other one to get this kind of like striping effect of like the ridgy part and then the more flat part and the ridgy part and the flat part. But it's like only one row that you work, and then you work the same thing back. So
okay.
I promise it gets easier.
Yeah.
And not so hard to count, because it's like 6 rows with the one section and 9 rows with the other. So it's really not that bad now. I promise. It does get into a flow. Anyways, I'm excited about that one. And this one is I put into my Woodsy and Wild bag that I showed last week. It's quite perfect for that because the way that the bag snaps together when I'm working, I can like fold the zipper part down, and then the snap together just like holds that plied cotton just taut enough to help keep the plies together, because sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge, that as the cake starts to loosen up and you use a lot out of the center or from the outside, the plies can start to like, there's no weight kind of holding them. So this bag is actually holding it quite well.
One more thing about this on the lamb.
I put mine on too.
Original. We have our, can I turn it the right way? Yours is going to show up better. Oh, there you go. Not bad. There you go. The little man. riding the.
Literally on the lamb.
Yeah. That's what we worked on. One of the things we worked on this weekend after we came back the same night, we worked on our color. Oh, this is a perfect little gnome beard. Just realized that after we came back from the color work class. And Freshie, I keep thinking about Freshie. Jason was like, there's one right around the corner. I was like, oh, that's bad news. I never knew. We don't eat out ever. And I avoid first street. Well, that's not true. We do.
You only ever go to Harvey's.
It's true because my kids will eat the burgers and they won't eat anything else from
Yeah.
anywhere. They would never eat Freshie, which is fun.
If you don't have Freshie where you are, you need to move to a place with Freshie.
No, I don't.
Fast food that tastes like that's real food.
Yeah.
And it's not stuff you couldn't make at home. I took Steve the one time when we had a, I don't know, date afternoon kind of thing. And I took him to try it because the first time I tried it was when I was at a course in Toronto. And yeah, I'm like, it's so good. And you can totally make it at home. Like, it's just like what I like to get is like rice and chicken and like beans and corn and avocado and like a spicy barbecue sauce. And like, it's really delicious. You could totally make it at home. But I tried to make it at home and it's not the same because it's a lot of effort to put all the components together. And the way they organize it, like they have it set up kind of like a Subway, you know, where it's like each of the ingredients is in a separate thing. So they can just like put it into your bowl or your wrap or whatever you want. Right. And like when you do it at home, it's a lot of effort to keep all the elements separate.
Yeah.
I'm like a one pot kind of girl. Like I take the skillet, I throw everything in it, or I like, you know, throw things in an order and then I cook it and it's done. And then I just scoop it out. Like I don't have to like arrange it on your plate nicely. And it's like, they have it all like separated. It's a lot of work to do that. Anyways, I appreciate their effort.
Yeah. It's worth the cost for sure. Absolutely.
And it's not actually that expensive.
It's not really, but it's more than if you just go to Harvey's.
Oh, totally. It's more than fast food, but I'm like, you know, for a decent sized bowl that I had trouble getting to the end of for a lunch, I think I paid $12 and I was like, I was full. I was satisfied. And I barely ate garbage after. Like if I eat fast food, I mean, now I can't with food allergies, but even before, if I ate fast food, I would feel like crap after. Like I would feel foggy. I feel tired. Like, anyways.
Okay. Keep going.
Digress.
So, the other monster that I'm working with, another Cindy creation. So this says boomerang on the top. So I'm guessing it's like the other one is like the wave gradient. This is a boomerang because you start from gray, go to blue to green, back to the blue, back to the gray. So it's like a boomerang effect. Very clever. And the colorway is Serenity. And it's, yeah, are they both 1,050 yards? Yeah, okay. Monster. That's fun though, but because time we started it, so I'm like, I can actually see I'm getting more into the blue, whereas the other one I'm like, come on, gray, I want to see the next color.
Yeah, that's always fair. There'll be points where you're like, this color will never end, and then it changes and you're like, oh, it changed, all right, now I want to like get to the next color change. Like,
so, and you can like see more of the blue. I think it'll be hard to tell here, but
when you held it back you could see it.
Oh, okay.
I could see it.
Well, then there you go. So this is another On the Lamb original. It's called the Keyed Up Shawl. Tama mentioned it last week. It's her most popular design on her Ravelry.
Yeah, it's a good one for crocheters because I mean,
so much fun. Like I do not want to work the other one. I want to work this one. I think it's, I don't know, I don't usually love. It's funny because with yarn, I prefer single crochets, like with like wool yarn.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm really enjoying the double crochet.
Yeah.
And like there's a certain part that in particular that I'm enjoying doing. So I don't want to stop.
Yeah. I feel like it's one, like the double crochet, like the height of it makes you feel like each row you really feel like you see progress. Like it steps up.
It's also the feeling of doing it for me right now.
Yeah. And you can get into, I found like you can get into a good rhythm with it. The only place like I really had to slow down is those increased tabs, but that's really only like every other row you're expanding on one side. So yeah, it just has like a really good, I just found it had a really good rhythm to it. It's not complicated. It's not difficult, but for me, for a gradient or like that, like those gradient plied cottons, it really like shows off the color transitions in a really beautiful way without taking anything away from the stitch pattern.
The only thing I'll have to make sure, I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, because I tried it for the first time last night, is working the crochet chain. You know, you end the one row.
Yeah.
And the last thing you do, you like to get to the last 3 stitches, you do 2 double crochets, a double crochet,
Like
then you
doing
do
the
2
increased
double
tab part.
crochets in the last one, and then you have to crochet a double crochet in the top of the chain from
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And it just looks like it's pulling out more than I don't know if you can
Yeah, there's kind of like 2 ways to do it. So some people do it where when you put the hook in, you're kind of going like under the chain so that you're going around those chained stitches, if that makes sense. So your chain will like come up and join to the top of the double crochet beside it, right? The initial starting chain that you're going to work into. It's like coming up and then it attaches to the top of the double crochet. So some people will put their hook like underneath the chain and work around it, but you'll get a little bit more of a gap there, or you'll kind of see that
curve, yeah.
stitch that you working like is pushing the chain out.
Mm-hmm.
I like to kind of go in through the actual chain, and you can be really fastidious, you can be really perfect about it and try to get like under the 2 loops. It's as long as you pick up one of the loops, so it's attached to something, that's all that really, in my opinion, like matters, because you won't really see that much.
You want me to go back and do this one again?
No, I can't see. See, from my looking at it, it almost looks like you have an
extra fanned out.
But you don't have an extra stitch, right? Like your stitch count's all fine there.
I don't think you have on the repeats.
Well, like all your repeats are still lining up, which would be your tell that your stitch count's right. Because it almost kind of looks like you're somehow putting an extra something there, like pushing it.
Once I started the row, it was fine. You start with like 4 double crochets, then you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it looks fine there.
I would just say if you can, like, try going into the actual chain stitches as opposed to under them and see if you can do it. Or go look at a video if you can find one.
I did. What's her name? Marley something?
Marley Bird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, in the pattern, if you're supposed to use those, the designer will tell you. I was like, it doesn't say that's what you're doing.
Well, in my opinion, it's like preference, because sometimes like it depends on, I don't know, sometimes like really dull crochet hook that has like no point to it, it can be very challenging to get into the actual chain stitches themselves. But it's like, to me, it's not important which one you do for that pattern. It's that obviously you want to be a bit consistent. So
well, that's the thing is you started that.
Yeah.
So I want it to look the same.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry so much about going back if it's just that one spot, but unless you.
But you know me, so I will.
Yeah. If it's bothering you, then you can. But I would just like maybe experiment.
Well, I need to figure it out anyway.
On the next one. That's what I find, yeah, sometimes it's like not really realistic. So one thing I will do, one tip that I can give you is that sometimes if I'm using a duller crochet hook and I don't think it's going to be possible to like dig the tip of it because there's no point to like dig into those stitches, I'll do it the opposite way. Like I'll kind of use the hook part to like hook the loop this way and pull it to like make some space to then go into it. Sometimes it works.
We'll see. Or I can always get an embroidery needle. I just need to like see where I'm going into, because it was, then they all bunch you together. It's like, I don't know where I'm going. But I think I'll go back and look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. What's next? That's it for me. No. Yarn positions, but they're not really that fancy, so.
Yeah, I was just going to show, I haven't worked on it, but my, the extra yarn that I ordered for my Z-wrap came.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's where I put it. I forgot. I was trying to find that concrete skein from Hedgehog that I had ordered with that other stuff that came. And I was like, where did I put that? I don't know why I was looking for it, what I was thinking about, but I was looking around in my craft and I was like, I can't find that anywhere. I totally forgot. I put it in the bag with the Z-wrap because I was like, look how the colors match. Stick. Okay. So as a recap, this is my Z-wrap, and we had talked about it, I don't even know now, a couple weeks ago maybe, about how, so I cast this on by Sweater Freak Knits, and it's much wider than what I was like than the pattern calls for. So the pattern says that blocked measurements should be 15 inches. And I think when I measured that, that was close to just 2 of the 3 sections because I didn't swatch. And for my main color, I am using hedgehog fibers. Sorry, not hedgehog fibers.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Freya fibers. Or Freya fine hand paints in their cloud colorway, but on their discontinued sock base. So they had some discontinued yarns in their sales section.
Fine hand paint, so that's all hand painted?
I believe so, yes. I think all their colorways are.
Wow.
I'm not sure exactly how they do it, but so yeah, so this is their discontinued sock base. It's very similar to their new sock base. So I'm not sure why they discontinued it. I can feel it's slightly rougher, but whatever. 75, 25, whatever. So I'm using 2 cakes. So it'll go light gray to black in the middle. And then I'll start with this one black and then go back to the light gray. And so for the pops of color that are in here, which they're not really that poppin', but for the bits of color that you mix in with this pattern, I was using a mini skein. I am using a mini skein set from Yarn Enabler called something that I can't remember. I don't know if I still have the tag in here. I do. Fly Me to the Moon. I was like, it's something about storms or space. So Fly Me to the Moon. So you can see it's like a purple and gray kind of color, a blue and purple and gray, pink and gray, teal and gray, and then just gray that's very similar to the lightest gray in the cloud cakes. But I was concerned about yardage because I'm so much wider than what the pattern calls for. I went on Free Fibers. They did have another cake of the cloud colorway of that discontinued base, but I was like, I'm like, if I order that, then I'm going to have like to think about, okay, what am I going to do with the gradient transition? Like, because I don't really want it to go gray, black, gray, black. That's not the point. I want it to just go one color to darker to lighter or vice versa. And I wasn't willing to frog out what I had already done. So instead what I did was looked at, so they make 50 gram, what, kids? Oh. They make 50 gram cakes of their sock yarn. So I looked to see, it's Momo.
Could you see him in the mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
Great. So yeah, so they make 50 gram cakes of their sock yarn. So I thought, let me look at those and see what colorways they have that might sort of work with this mini madness that I have going on. And I feel like it is a really good, I did a good pick. Like it's like a really similar color family. The weights are all going to be good. So I'm quite happy with my decision. So this one is the Diesel colorway. So it's like a warm navy, slightly purpley navy, but still like very soft color, like, you know, that grayness you can tell is in there. And then this is Wisteria. So it's like a very like gray, purple, mauve kind of color. So I'm really happy with that. I cannot wait to get back to that. I just haven't yet because I instead cast on this cardigan. Yeah. Do you need to break?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a second. Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay,
I'll be right back. We will not be right back.
Go quick, I got 20 more. Yeah, okay, so there was that. And then you said you're done, right?
Well, I just have my, I don't know why, I'm really excited about my boho chic yarn that we got on the weekend. Touch of alpaca.
Oh, I was like, you didn't get yarn from Boho Chic. What are you talking about?
For my boho chic.
For your Boho Chic, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of a neat find. I didn't know that.
That was a fun find, right? Mm-hmm. I can't stop thinking about that one color we found at the Michaels where we had to use cash only. What brand was it now?
Patton's one, I think, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It was heavier.
That Dovey gray. That Dovey gray is definitely like in my that crochet project, like where it's like, it's gray, but it's like, there's something slightly warm about it. Like there's a teensy bit of purple or something.
Yeah, there's like that was what I was
That
gonna
is
say
like
too.
my
It's
favorite.
sort of like a pearl, you know, when you like catch
Mhm.
just the right light, you can see like
Yeah.
the shimmer of like a little bit of purple.
Yeah. Like
Ugh,
pearly
if
or
I ever find
taupey
something
or
like that again, I will. You know what? I
yeah.
should just like go to a Michael's and get it and do something with it because I
Yeah.
just love it. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm equally pleased about this.
Yeah.
Fine Lion brand. And you were saying, Tammy, you didn't know that they did this before, right?
Yeah.
So in case there's anyone else, we were at Michael's, aka that's the Canadian version of Joann's, apparently. So it's called Touch of Alpaca. So it's actually 90% acrylic, 10% alpaca.
But you can really feel the alpaca.
You
Like,
can really feel it.
like when you pick it up, I mean, there are definitely acrylics that are made very well and are very soft, but it's like you can feel that extra bit of softness and you can see that little bit of halo. And I feel like
Yeah.
10% for me, alpaca's not my favorite. If I had to pick, I would pick cashmere, but
Me too.
al- it's like you can just feel enough of the alpaca without it being like overpowering and like not enough alpaca to turn me off,
Yeah.
I think it'll be really cozy.
I don't think if I felt this and didn't look at the band, I don't think I would know it was acrylic at all.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's like it's just enough
Yeah.
to cover, or I don't know. It's like the alpaca's like coating
Yeah.
the acrylic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got 3 of these, and it
Yeah.
was a sale, buy 2 get 1 free, which was
Yeah.
perfect for the yardage of the sweater that I want to make.
Yeah. So you're gonna make the Free Bird cocoon
Yes, the free.
by Annie Lupton of Boho Chic, which I had knit one as well, in like a teal color, and mine is like I can't remember what the brand is, but it's on my Ravelry. It's like wool, acrylic, and some cashmere maybe, but it's like a recycled yarn, and it's a very dense worsted weight. So it's nice, but it has like so much sturdiness to it that it doesn't really have that like hangy
I
drapiness.
noticed that, yeah.
Like it's a bit more stiff, almost like jackety. And I like it, but it just makes it like I don't wear it as much as I probably would if it like I could have probably gone up a needle size to change the gauge, but I really need to. When I've never knit something before, I need to like really follow the pattern. So I didn't want to like do too many adjustments and then
Right.
screw it up. But yeah, if I were to knit it again or something in that style again, I would definitely go something like softer and prettier. That would be like, like you just want to like melt on your body.
I was so excited about this. I purchased the pattern just to do a gauge swatch. Realized that in the gauge swatch you have to do some cabling, and I was like, forget it. I don't want to think about it. I just want to knit.
You can do the cabling though. It won't be. But I did the gauge swatch, and I don't think the cabling was like it wasn't a hard.
I'm sure it's the most basic kind of cabling, but even you've never done it before, I was like, I just wanted it to be mindless. I just didn't know what the needles. I think it was. I didn't know. Well, and you didn't know obviously what the gauge is supposed to be from just looking at the like her pattern description on Ravelry, like you had to go in and get the details. I think there was some reason I had to get it, or maybe
well, the gauge.
No, I think maybe it's
there, but you'd need the actual like what the cable pattern part is.
Right? Yeah, I think that's what it said. Like you had to do it with the cable, whatever. And then when I went into the pattern, into the whole pattern, and saw like the charts, and I was like, I just no.
You should have just asked me. I could have probably just given you that part to. Like I trust that
it's fine.
Buy the pattern when you actually need to make the pattern.
The fact that I bought it, like it's fine that I bought it because I was gonna buy it anyway. It was just more that like I was like, yes, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do the swatch, and then that'll satisfy me because I'm focused on getting your stuff done. It'll satisfy me with this yarn just to do that, and then it was shut it down. I'm sure I will. I think I just needed that that first thought about it. Anyways, my second yarn acquisition, again, not very exciting. Another Lion brand, Thick and Quick for my daughter Ada, and there's a really cute video on my Instagram. She, without prompting, takes the yarn out of the package and starts going rockabye baby with it. And I was like, see? She even gets the yarn babies. So she's very excited. This will be a hood for her. I can't remember anything else about the pattern. I want to get this cast on for her soon as well. So hopefully in the coming weeks, you'll get to see me
Did you
working on
order
it.
that one?
Yeah, I did. I ordered it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then what?
That's it for me. I'm totally done.
I had two more things. So when I ordered from Freya, you can't just order what you need. It was close-ish to my birthday, so I was like, saw that they had this colorway called Garnet.
Cute.
Which is my birthstone. And I don't always like garnet colored yarn because garnet, so this is also called garnet.
Yeah.
And I find that most of the time garnet yarns are more in this maroony kind of colorway, which this is garnet heather. So
that's a very pretty one. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look really close, I don't know if I can really pick it up on the camera, but they can kind of see it. There's like a little bit of like blues and kind of purples in there. So it breaks up because otherwise I don't really just love maroon.
Yeah. Like your headband.
Like my headband. But it's actually like a little bit darker. But it's a headband, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, like, if, clothing or whatever, it's kind of rare for me to get something that's just, actually it's funny because I did just buy a t-shirt that was basically just maroon. But it's like, it's rare, like I won't really wear it as just a t-shirt because I'll put a knit over top of it or something, right? So it's kind of like, now when I'm shopping for tops, I'm always looking for like, okay, what's going to be a good background for something else that I want to wear on top or for layering or whatever. Anyway, so I took a chance because it's like hard to tell when you're looking at pictures on websites, right? Like, what if it's darker than it is? Or
I think I live life in songs. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance.
I don't do that. Hence my give me a break.
Songs and TV shows or movies, yeah.
Anyway, so I was worried that it was going to be darker than what the picture was showing when it arrived. And there are some dark variation to it, but oh, my God. Like for a garnet, it's very fuchsia, which I'm super excited about. It's their sport weight, which is like kind of my favorite. Sport DK is kind of my favorite yarn weight. And it's a single ply, which single ply and fingering I generally don't love because it just feels too thin to my hands. But single ply in like sport DK worsted bulky is like, love it. So I'm really excited. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this.
I just remembered really quickly. I think I messaged you about this, but I got lost in the crochet discussion. It's 11/11. Happy 11/11, everybody. Jason and I decided we were going to scrap the cowl that I was working on that light fingering weight.
Yeah.
And what he wants is the exact cowl that he wore on the couch at your house that you made. He doesn't want yellow, so it's not like I'm going to steal that one for you. Yeah. But that weight of yarn and that like squishiness. Yeah. What was the weight again?
I think it's a sport. I think it's classified as a sport.
I know it goes in and out. It's a little uneven, but heavier anyway. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And what was the blend?
I think it's just wool.
Okay. But a soft wool, like whatever it was, is a soft.
Yeah. I would feel like any like sport weight in like a wool, nylon, or wool will be fine.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Anyway, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the garnet yarn. I feel like some kind of like, I might do something like the tilted cowl-ish, but not add in any other colors, just keep it to the one color, but we'll see. And I have no immediate plans at this point. And then I did get one more thing. So prior to my purchases, my most recent Freya purchases, I already had these two in my stash that I had ordered from their Etsy shop quite a while ago. Again, they're like Etsy shop they use for kind of like imperfect skeins. I can't remember what they call them, but whatever. So this one I think is supposed to be blue patina, and this one, and it's gone. It's in my stash, I think, on Ravelry. Anyways, you can see how like compared to what's on their website, like the color is very broken. So blue patina is supposed to be more like a blue gray, and you can see there's like spots where it's darker, it's more purple, it's like it's got weird colors in it. And same with this one, it might be called Kraken or something like that. It's almost supposed to be like a dark
yeah, you can see
gray.
Red or
it's very like green and purple. Well, that's what black dye is, never black, right? Like it's multiple colors that make it up, and when you break black dye, that's what happens, is like all the different colors that make it up can pull out and pool in different spots. So it's like you get spots that are kind of green, spots that are kind of purple. Anyways, I had these two in my stash. I tried to make something with them at one point, but because they're like 50-gram-ish skeins, it just wasn't enough yardage. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do with them? And then while I was on Freya, I was like, oh, I'll just take a quick peruse past the worsted weight gradient section. This is my favorite. I have used this before. It's in my virus shawl. It's their mint julep colorway. So it's like, minty green into basically the same color as the Kraken, like through that blue patina kind of color. So it's like perfect match for these. I mean, they're very broken, so it'll help to give a little contrast. I'm thinking something color work. Something cowly, color worky. I'm not sure what. I was playing around yesterday and doing some drawing.
Oh, that's
something like that.
Cute.
But I don't know if I made a mistake. I don't know if the math will work out for it to go around like that, or if I might have to have like a seam of like blankness on the back, or I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to play around with it.
Yeah.
So I actually did start to cast it on and just started like the collary part. Then I realized the cord I was using was too short. Couldn't think of where other cords were. I needed my longer cord to cast on this cardigan, and that's really not urgent. So I'm going to put it aside while I'm working on this, and then when I am missing color work, I will come back to it. I might have to pick up another cord. Anyways, I think that is it for me.
It's episode 14.
I think by the next time we meet, some other things will arrive in the mail.
Ew. Not cute.
Creepy smile.
Yeah.
I had pre-ordered this colorway that I had eyed up from
just so everyone knows too, that's not a giant booger in Taimu's nose. So you turned to the side and it's like all I could see was the
what?
Your bar from your nose ring.
Oh, my nose ring bar is in there.
Yeah.
It's just this. Which is why sometimes it looks like I'm picking my nose and I'm not. It's that it like something will happen and it'll slip around, and then I can feel, like right now, I can feel the end of the bar like touching the inside of my nostril, and I have to like push it. It doesn't just like, I can't, if I just move it, it'll just slide back, and it just makes the problem worse. I have to actually like spin it around to get the curve, so I can't feel it. Anyways, now that I've stuck my thumb up my nose. Anyways, I think her Instagram name is the Wool Baron. She has this colorway called Ugly Sweater Party. It's like a 20 stripe, it's a self-striping sock yarn with a 20 stripe repeat.
Wow.
And they're like not really colors that you'd put together, but somehow it works. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need this. So when I first saw her like pre-order or whatever come up, I hummed and hawed, put it in my cart, and then totally lost, like backed out, tried to go back, and it was gone. She said she was having one more pre-order for it, I think before the holidays. And I tried to get it then, totally missed it. And then I happened to be like cruising Instagram the one day, and she said she said so many requests. It's been so popular. She's doing one more pre-order. And I was like, I'm in. Like, I was like, set your timer, like wait by my phone. Like, I'm getting it. So I put one in my cart, checked out, then went out and whatever. And then was like, all right, I got to go back and get one more. Because I'm like, what I want to make with it, or at least with part of it, is like a double wrap cowl, like a tube cowl. So it just like knit like a tube all the way around, and then wear it as like a big wrappy cowl thing. And then hopefully I'll have a bit left over for some kind of sock situation or whatever. But anyways, so those should be hopefully here before next week.
Cool.
As I'm sure there will be something else too. My replacement hook and stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I should get going.
Yes.
Or I end up being late for my lunch date, or my coffee date, I guess. Anyways, check you later. Lightning round, I feel like.
Yes.
Feels like it's like, I don't feel deprived. I don't feel like we missed anything, you know?
No, it feels good. It feels, that's like nice, focused. Still a little bit of fun, but yeah.
All right. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, what do you prefer?
The preferable length. If we should try to stick to business, or if we should ramble on about nothing more often. Easier. The latter is easier. All right. Getting off track again.
Not easier for editing though, but anyway.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
You're done.
Yarn on, people. Happy making.
Bye.
Bye.